For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. On infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections.
If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious.
Violence and vandalism is being led by Antifa and other radical left-wing groups who are terrorizing the innocent, destroying jobs, hurting businesses, and burning down buildings. They are coming after me because I am fighting for you. That's what's happening.
Greetings, fellow thought criminals, and thank you for joining the Insurrection. I'm Michael Lauber. This is Derrick Evans, and the winning continues to intensify.
Oh, it does, and it's so glorious. I'm just telling you, I can't get enough of it. I will say that the left, I'm a little worried. I don't know if they can pace themselves at this pace for the next 4 years. Something's going to have to give here. I'm enjoying their crying as much as I am the winning that we're actually having. So I want them to be able to cry for 4 years straight. So I'm a little worried there. But as always, guys, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, all those good things. If you're watching live, hop in the comments. We'll give you a shout out just like this. We got Kristen, we got Hello Goodbye, and we got Thaddeus over here in the X chat already. And then we got Sean in the Getter chat. Appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Exactly. Yeah, I want them to fully flood DC with their tears before they all move out in disgrace. And, we're already starting to see the effect of some of these policies. Trump made the offer that they could resign now and very generous, pay them for up to 8 months to just step out and not be part of the problem. But here we have this swamp draining 20,000 said to have taken the Trump buyout, and this is good progress because a lot of the rest of these people, I don't think they quite fully understand what's in store for them or why they're having to return to work, because it isn't just because of the inefficiencies that were discovered by Office of Budget Management and the Government Accountability Office, where the inefficiencies in a lot of these departments have dropped by 20 to 40%, while they've been allowed to continue to work from home. It's also, now we have access to IRS records. We know a lot of these government employees were illegally working second jobs, and that's a crime. Not to mention all of them that publicly and they think privately been plotting against Trump, how to stop the incoming regime. There's going to be consequences. They all clearly need babysitters, and now that they're back in the office, they don't know who they can trust and who they can't.
Yeah, well, and this is huge just for multiple reasons. Obviously, we're going to save a ton of money in the long run. I mean, I think they get paid all the way through September, I believe it is, of this year.
Yes.
It's a pretty good deal for everybody involved. We're, as Trump administration is wanting to shrink the government waste and get rid of some of these bloated agencies. This is a way to kind of do that while just getting rid of the ones who definitely don't want to be there and move on. For them, if they're not happy, they don't want to work there, they can get paid through September while they're moving or looking for another job or something. So it's a pretty good gig, honestly, all the way around for everybody involved. And count me in for this. 20,000 people that we don't have to replace. I mean, it just shows you how bloated and inefficient our government has really become. And this is the first time in my lifetime, anyways, that we've had a president who's actually addressed this issue. That a lot of them talk about it, wanting to balance the budget, wanting to, cut waste and all these things, but none of them actually do it. And to this quickly cut the government workforce by 20,000 people in a matter of 2 weeks. That's pretty impressive in my book.
Yeah. And, it's not done yet because I believe they have until this coming Friday to take the option to resign and continue to be paid for a while. And as you said, if it is somebody just doesn't think that they can do their role now, this is a good opportunity for them. They can, go find another job and then continue to get their other paycheck, build up some savings. Move out to California or wherever where they'll fit in better with the rest of the blue-haired moonbats, and they can continue to, do whatever it is they want to do. But yeah, this is more than fair. It gives them an option to leave, not have to be fired, not have to be investigated or anything else. Now, I do think if any of these 20,000 were guilty of serious crimes or leaking information or whatever, they still should have to pay the price for it. But, this will let them avoid all the stuff they claim they don't want. And I know there are unions and the Democrats are obviously out there screaming at the moon about this already. But, it's a done deal. And again, this is more than fair. It bypasses the restrictions on firing people, so we're not going to have long court battles over it. This is a good move for everyone.
It is, man. And like I said, I'm excited about this. It's going to get rid of a lot of the government waste. It's going to get rid of, it's going to show as well. I mean, if the Trump administration can cut tens of thousands of people from the government payroll and everything still functions just fine, it's going to be hard for the next administration, even if the left happens to win. We hope that they don't, but let's just say that they did. They're going to win at some point. It's going to be hard for them to want to come in and sell to the American people that they want to rehire, 30, 40, 50,000 people. And, the question then becomes for what exactly? So I think this is huge. It's going to show that the government can run on. I mean, look what Elon Musk did with X, with Twitter. He came in, fired, the vast majority of the people, and everything works actually more smooth now than it did beforehand. And so I think this is awesome. To the government employees, look, if you're one of these people who's complaining all the time, you got until Friday, and after that, we don't want to hear any more complaining. All right, you had your opportunity, and if you decide to stay, that's fine, but you better be showing up to work every single day in the office and actually working while you're there, because you work for us, the taxpayers, at the end of the day, and we're going to demand that, and I'm sure that Elon Musk and the Trump administration is going to demand that as well.
Yeah, if you are one of these government employees that's having complete mental breakdowns and panic attacks because you've suddenly got to go back in and work in the office, you're probably not mentally stable enough to work there anyway. You should take this 8 months, get yourself the mental help you need, and then maybe you can return to society as a productive member of the workforce. But actually, before we pull our next story, I kind of want to go touch on something that you said in the introduction there, and that is the left really needs to pace themselves, because something else that's happening right now with their constant freakouts and doomsaying on everything that Trump does, like this 24-hour tariff war we just all survived. You guys look like fools, because every single thing that Trump does, you go to these apocalyptic scenarios, try to scare everybody, and it never happens. This is why no one trusts you. This is why the mainstream media's ratings have cratered. This is why MSNBC's lost almost 60% of their viewers. CNN's at 40 to 45% loss. Bezos was a Washington Post. They're down 90%. I mean, this is why nobody believes you guys anymore, because you're fools. You keep buying this narrative. You go to the worst possible scenario for everything. Don't understand, like, there is a plan in place. There is context. There is history. Let me go and pull this headline so that'll make a little more sense. But and we're going to get into some of the details on this. So I survived the 24-hour trade war of 2025. Survey: nearly half of Canadian businesses plan to move production to the U.S. 60% are looking for business acquisitions in response to Trump's tariffs. Now, obviously, now the tariffs have been put on hold, but this is why we knew this was going to work. As I stated yesterday, we make up 22% of Canada's GDP. They're 1.5% of ours. Not to mention all these products, they're not static. If there's a tariff on a Canadian good, we will just buy it from somewhere else. Now, maybe there's a few things, maple syrup, Crown Royal, a couple other things that we can only get from Canada, that the price may increase on. But by and large, it is not going to affect Americans. It's going to affect Canadians. Actually, in preparation for this, yesterday, Canada was even, prior to surrendering in the trade war, they were estimating that in, I think it was in Vancouver, it could cost them 800,000 jobs. And they were going to put in emergency economic policies similar to what they did during COVID, paying people just to make sure their entire country didn't collapse.
Yeah, well, I'll give a quick shout out to FG over here in the Getter chat. And then Thaddeus brought up a good point. Says Trump moves so fast the leftists can barely keep up with everything that's going on, which is true.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, look, as far as I'm concerned, Canadian bacon sucks anyways. I raise my own pigs, so I don't really need their bacon. I have my own. And then same with the maple syrup. We got local people here who tap the trees, and I get my own syrup from right here in West Virginia from local people. I don't need Canada. They need us. But I think it's awesome. I mean, they're now going to put $1.3 billion of their own money into helping secure the northern border. And then Mexico sending 10,000 troops to the southern border. I'm going to start cracking down on the cartels. This is a win all the way around. This is all that President Trump really wanted at the beginning of this anyways, was for these two countries to help in securing their border, as opposed to helping facilitate the invasion of our border, because just those two things alone are going to be huge help in terms of us securing our border as well. So it's a huge win. I thought it was hilarious that a lot of the people on the left, they still don't understand how tariffs work. And they also still don't understand that this is what we voted for. They're like, nobody voted for this. I'll be damned. That's exactly what I voted for. This is exactly what I voted for. I'm happier than a pig in mud right now with everything that I'm seeing out here from President Trump and this administration during the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Pretending everything is surprises out of the blue, that's a complete lie, complete BS, and we all know it. This is exactly the policy that President Trump campaigned on. This is nothing out of left field, at least not thus far. And I also want to give you guys a little bit of history here with Canada and tariffs and Mexico. And, you got to realize neither of these countries, I don't think, have ever met their trade obligations under NAFTA or other agreements. I didn't go back all the way to the beginning of time, but let me give you some example of historic tariffs that Canada has hit America with over the last 30 years. And a lot of times they don't call them tariffs. Instead, they'll call them an import tax, but it's the same thing. It's a tariff. So they've taxed American milk at 270%, cheese at 245%, butter at 298%, chicken at 238%, sausage at 69.9%, barley seed 57.8%, bovine meat 26.5%, cars 25%, HVAC components 45%, vacuum cleaners 35%, cable boxes at 35%, TVs at 45%, steel 25%, aluminum 45%, and copper at 48%. So if it's okay for them to levy these massive tariffs, all of these except for the one on cars and steel, at significantly larger amounts than we were going to tax Canadian goods at, why are you upset now that we are finally forcing them to live under the agreements that they've already signed? So I don't want to hear it anymore. Now, unfortunately, the trade war is not completely over yet. China, for now, is going tit for tat. China strikes back with tariffs on U.S. goods and a probe into Google for antitrust activities. Well, you know what? I don't think China is going to be able to hold out very long either. We're there, again, they are dependent on us. We are their largest trading partner. Most of the goods we buy from China, we can purchase elsewhere. And that way we won't have to, support their slave labor. So don't expect them to hold out long, but expect the dinosaur media to hold up the Chinese as heroes now.
I would love nothing more than if we just banned everything from China for a period of time, to be honest with you. I couldn't care less. I'm so sick of everything that you find in the store is made in China, made in China, made in China, because it's 30 cents cheaper than something else. I purposely look at those things and purposely avoid buying things from China if possible. Obviously, some things it's almost impossible because they have the whole store, the whole section is made in China, which is a major issue right now. Hopefully, you would think that we learned something from COVID in terms of supporting and getting our own supply chains here in America. But I'm so sick of the China stuff and everything to do with that I couldn't care less if we imported another thing from them for the rest of eternity.
Yeah, well, you touched on something really important there, and that is we should learn the lesson from COVID and start bringing some of these products back to the U.S., make them here, and take that business away from China. You know, one of the things we did learn as we started to move some of this industry back was you didn't see a giant price spike like all the moonbats promised we would. And it also, again, it returned that capital back to the U.S. It created high-paying U.S. jobs, and you know, you're right. There are some things that right now you can't get except from China, especially like kind of high performance, like lithium ion phosphate batteries, things like that. And that's due to regulation in the United States. And that's another thing that I hope the Trump administration does tackle, where it isn't impossible to make some of these devices within the United States just to overregulation from the EPA and other useless federal bureaucracies. Because it really is only sabotaging us. Now, if the country like has a monopoly over a certain export because they're the one that has the resource, like that, I understand. But the rest of this, like, we're only shooting ourselves in the foot by continuing this policy, which doesn't allow us to manufacture these products here on our own soil, where it'll primarily benefit Americans.
Yeah, and look, here's the thing. So I remember during the Trump the first presidency of President Trump, when we had the tariffs going on with China and everything, and I flip houses and do real estate and everything, and the cost of drywall screws and deck screws and such had went up because of this. But what I noticed was that people were buying American-made drywall screws and deck screws. They were made somewhere in Middle America. I don't remember where it was. Because the tariffs made them the same price. The American ones were like $3 or $4 more for like a 10-pound box or something. It really wasn't a lot in the grand scheme of things. When you're talking about, you know, if you're drywalling an entire house, you could spend an extra $30 on screws, and you're talking thousands of dollars. It's nothing. But in turn, you're supporting American jobs. And so the tariffs made the prices the same. And when prices were the same and comparable, people were willing to purchase American. And so that is like the concept here for me. And for me, I don't care. I'd much rather spend extra money to purchase American and know that there's some family in Iowa or wherever this place was at, you know, that I don't know them. I don't care. But knowing that I'm making that purchase and keeping the food on the table for some plant worker in Iowa or Illinois or wherever they may be, I would much rather do that than to contribute to the slave labor over there in China and other places. And the quality's better. Yeah.
Well, keeping it here at home, or to spending money with other countries, even that just don't hate us. That's another thing that China is somewhat concerned about right now, is manufacturing plants from Japanese, South Korean, and other companies that are right now in China. But if this tariff continues, they'll, just like we discussed yesterday with the avocados, they'll move the business either back to their home country or over here to the United States, open up manufacturing plants there, because they would still want to be able to sell their product, and they don't want to get caught in the middle of this trade war. So that's the one of the big issues that China is watching very closely, is how many large manufacturers within their country. I mean, think about Apple. If this got bad enough that all of a sudden there's a 20% surcharge on new iPhones, maybe Apple moves manufacturing from Foxconn to even if it's not back to the U.S., maybe it's to Japan or South Korea or somewhere else that isn't trying to strategically destroy the United States brick by brick right now.
Yeah, and I'll say this. Let me clear some chats really quick first, because we got a lot of chats over here. We got Farm Boy. I loved he's got a lot of comments, but one of them earlier was, there's plenty of maple syrup here in the Northeast, buy American made instead of from Canada. And the reason I wanted to say that is, I think people would be shocked if they started looking around at how much of these sorts of things are made here in the U.S. One of those things you don't think about maple syrup, but there's a lot of syrup and stuff that's made here in the U.S., and we should definitely be trying to do that as well. And then I think let's see, I'm Nostradamus over here in the chat as well. JR Owen, and appreciate you guys for tuning in. But even in addition to just buying American, I try to buy local. And what I mean by that is, whenever I need tires for my vehicle, for instance, there's a local shop in my local community that is owned by a local person that everybody I don't know what the official name of the store is. We all just call it by the guy who runs its first name. That's what we all, that's the type of place that it is. Yeah. But is it a few dollars more? I'm sure that it is. I don't really know. I don't really care. But the point is, when I take my kids to the youth soccer field, the youth football field, the youth baseball field. Guess whose sign I see on the fence? I see Zeke's tires on the fence. Not Walmart, not Goodyear, not any of those places. It's Zeke's tires. And just like, you know, the little restaurant, the same thing, I'm a Jeans or whatever it is, you know, those are the places that I see. So I tell people, when you go to your children's youth sporting events, look along the sign there and shop at those places, because now your money's getting recirculated into your local community. Those are the people buying the uniforms for your community, all those things. Those are the businesses that I go out of my way to support whenever I have the opportunity to do so.
You know, one of my big takeaways from going to Belgium for making Europe great again was I noticed there were a lot fewer large chain companies. You still had a lot more ma and pa coffee shops and restaurants and little businesses, and far fewer chains, and that kept the money local. Also, there was a relationship with the people. As customers would come in, they knew people's names, they knew they came in for dinner every week or whatever, and you know that is a good atmosphere to cultivate. It also, you know, makes your area unique. It gives people a reason to go there. Guys, we got to take a quick break here from our sponsors, and then we're going to be right back to discuss this meltdown they're having over USAID.
Play your trump card and support Make America Great Again with the Donor Deck. Get your hands on 52 exquisite playing cards, each with powerful quotes from scripture and stunning artwork. Plus, showcase your MAGA pride with a beautiful display case and a reversible challenge coin. By purchasing the Donor Deck, you become an official donor, contributing to our cause and helping President Trump reclaim the White House. Get your Donor Deck today and play your part in making America great again.
Go to the Patriot.tv store and get your Donor Deck now.
Attention business owners and entrepreneurs, Patriot TV is launching a brand new TV series showcasing American-made products, and your business could be featured. Whether you sell your products online on Etsy or Shopify and dream of reaching millions of viewers on smart TVs like Samsung, Sony, TCL, and LG, or apps like Roku, Android, and Apple TV, this is your chance. We're searching for US-based businesses offering all types of products and services proudly made in the USA. If you've ever wanted to showcase your products on TV like QVC or the Home Shopping Network, now's your opportunity. Support our American economy, grow your business, and be seen by loyal Patriot viewers across the country. Know someone with a business or have a business yourself? Don't miss out. Contact us at supportingpatriots.com today. Be a guest on this new exciting TV series. Let's put your American-made products in the spotlight.
What do a neurosurgeon, a country artist, and a television and radio host have in common? They all saw the writing on the wall. Big banks sharing your financial information with big government. Join them as owners in Old Glory Bank, the pro-America online bank that protects your privacy, security, and liberty. Invest today at own.oldglorybank.com.
Thank you for staying with us. And the best way to support the Insurrection and all the programs here on Patriot TV is by supporting our sponsors. So give Old Gloria Bank a try. Stop banking with people that hate you and deplatform you, and deplatform content creators and others fighting the same fight that we're fighting. Well, guys, the left has been just absolutely apoplectic after a lot of this fraud, waste, and abuse, and I think money laundering at USAID was exposed. Now, U.S. Attorney Ed Martin confirms DOJ employees are being targeted in violation of the law. They've also, our new DOJ has stated there may be criminal charges for many of these people within USAID that unlawfully tried to prevent DOJ from gaining access to all their files and information.
Well, and they were also doxing some of these DOJ employees. And so I love Ed Martin is a true patriot. I've gotten to know Ed over the last few years, and he's awesome. And he's not taking any crap from these people. I love that he's, pinning his ears back and going after them. This is exactly what we need out of the U.S. attorney when the left tries to play these little reindeer games. We need somebody who's going to put them back in line. The same can be said for Tom Homan had mentioned, and I'm sure he's already spoken to Ed Martin on this. I'm assuming anyways, that the governor of New Jersey, I believe it was bragging, saying that they had were harboring illegals in their home, and Tom Homan said that they would look into it, and if so, there would be criminal investigation conducted on that. I'm sure that Ed Martin would be more than happy to bring those charges as well. Basically, we're not playing around this go around. And we're going to have to protect Doge. Look, I didn't know a whole lot about USAID. I didn't know a whole lot about it, to be honest with you. I mean, I knew about it, but I hadn't done extensive research on it. But after seeing the way the left is freaking out over this, it tells me that we definitely need to abolish this agency 100%. Just on that one fact alone, that's what I think, anyways.
Yes, as their screaming intensifies, it tells me there's more secrets left there to uncover. And let's go over a few of them here real quick from our lovely new press secretary.
You're watching live coverage.
Through USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do, to get the fraud, waste, and abuse out of our federal government. Thank you, guys.
I mean, come on, haven't these countries suffered enough? Do we really have to put them through a transgender opera or force Serbia to undergo DEI policies? I mean, come on, how much harm do we want to do to the global community?
Dude, a transgender opera. I'm like I'm trying not to picture that in my head, but I can't help but picture that in my head. And so I'm mind blown that I'm mind blown that our tax dollars are not only paying for these things, but they're paying for them in other countries. So, I mean, realistically, there's probably a lot of money laundering going on here as well.
100%.
And everybody knows that's what this big debate is about right now is so Doge got access to a lot of these things and froze the accounts, like meaning you couldn't make any more payments. And the reason why was President Trump's executive orders said we're no longer paying for these things. And these corrupt government bureaucrats who are so beholden to pushing this agenda were still pushing the button to pay for these things even after Trump signed the executive order, because they could not stomach or stand the thought of no longer paying for transgender operas, for instance. And so they came through and froze everything and said, we're going to freeze it until we see what is on the, ready to be spent, so that we were not paying for things that goes against the executive order that President Trump, and the left is freaking out about that. And that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Yeah, maybe we can salvage some of these things. We can use that a transgender opera, strap somebody to a chair, make them watch it over and over in Guantanamo Bay until they talk. But, some of this stuff, like AOC was out there screaming about this because some of this money went to fund the basically talent scouting that found her and made her into the Democrat operative she is now today. So we know that they were also using this to finance a lot of their operations. Now, I saw a short interview yesterday, and I can't remember who this was with, but one of the things that they are looking into there is how much of this money may have been getting laundered to different Democrat organizations and then used for campaigns. He mentioned like how much spending had gone up since 2010 for a lot of these Democrat congressional candidates and everywhere else. And he suspects at least some of this money was coming through the federal government, going to NGOs and other, 501c3s, and then getting laundered back to Democrats running for Congress or running in local elections or wherever else, basically forcing you to finance their campaigns through USAID and other programs at the federal level. And if that really was what was happening, then we need to put an end to that immediately. And if there's ways to go after any of this money through the courts and force the DNC to pay it back, or to criminally charge any of these organizations, we need to do that as well. We need to cut this whole apparatus out, whether it's part of the federal government on paper or not, or it's just de facto government and they're utilizing the law to hide what they're doing.
No, that's exactly what's going on here. The whole thing, like I said, I believe that we're going to be shocked at how much government. Well, I mean, Elon Musk has publicly said he believes that they can get to a savings of $1 trillion per year. Okay, that is the goal right now, is to save from the government waste, fraud, and abuse. $1 trillion per year. Think about this, guys, how much of our money is being stolen from you every single paycheck and then turned around and being wasted to the tune of $1 trillion per year. Even if they continued to collect the money and then actually turn, I'm not a fan of this. I don't want this. I'm just saying, like, even imagine if they were taking this money still and they were actually using it for some sort of good across our country. It was $1 trillion in infrastructure into bringing city water or new roads and bridges. Like, I can imagine the impact that could have if they were at least doing that with our money. But they're just, I believe, probably laundering a lot of this money and self-enriching themselves, probably is what it comes down to. But $1 trillion per year. That is an astronomical amount of just government waste, fraud, and abuse that is just, I don't even, who knows where it's going. It's unbelievable.
Well, and as they dig in deeper, don't be surprised to find out that at the end of the year or the end of the year and a half that DOGE will be in operation. I wouldn't be surprised they find more waste, fraud, and abuse than just that $1 trillion. You know, there's a lot of these lefties out in the media right now scoffing at some of these amounts. Oh, well, $78,000, that's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. Well, it all adds up. When you take all these programs, you pile them on top of each other, it's millions, then billions, and then before you know it, $1 trillion of wasteful spending on people's pet projects or just money laundering or just absolute nonsense that nobody in America, you can probably find a dozen people, you can find a clown car full of people that would support some of this stuff. The rest of the country knows exactly what it is, that it's garbage spending. You know, if you want to support the transgender opera in Paraguay, go round up your own donors and pay for it yourself. Don't force the American people to do it. That's the problem. Leftists, and unfortunately a lot of people on the right, they think it's their personal piggy bank for all their pet projects around the world. And that ends, well, yesterday. It's not going to continue. It doesn't stop there. Here we go. Shock revelation. USAID funding went to China for gain of function research on coronavirus. Noted expert weighs in. So, despite other efforts to make this illegal to continue funding gain of function, which is, again, biological warfare, they were laundering the money through USAID to NGOs and to, oh man, I just blanked on the name of one of the organizations that was famous for this, that Fauci and I believe Hunter Biden had ties to, some of these, Metabiota and others. So they were laundering the money through here. So they're bypassing the law by using NGOs and other organizations to filter it through so it's not coming directly from the feds, when in reality it is. They're just using a legal process to do it. Now, again, that's something else we've got to put an end to now. It's not illegal, or it's not legal for the federal government to violate your First Amendment rights by using a third party. That's already been determined by the courts. So it shouldn't be legal for them to launder money through an NGO to also accomplish things that is illegal for them to do.
Absolutely. I'll give a quick shout out to Compton's Patriot in the Rumble chat. And then I want to give a shout out to Caroline for Congress and Jackie in the X chat. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. But yeah, I mean, this once again, man, this whole thing is just wild right now. That we knew that a lot of this was being funded in terms of the gain of function in China. But it's one thing to know, it's one thing to have, some confirmation to that, I guess you could say. Yeah. And so we've now went into that. There needs to be some congressional investigations into all of this and in terms of the funding of that, as well as many other things. Fauci is a complete scumbag, man. I mean, the way he's tortured animals as well through a lot of this research and such, and using our tax dollars to do it, it's absolutely despicable. There's so much waste. I saw where DOGE announced yesterday that they've terminated 22 consulting contracts for a total savings of $45 million per year. So there were these coaching and consulting contracts with these companies where they were coaching and consulting our government employees and government agencies to the tune of $45 million per year to do basically absolutely nothing. It's all money laundering. And then Jackie had the quote over here the comment in the X chat says, "You've heard several people over the years ask how you go to Congress and become a multimillionaire. Well, here's your answer. Now we know." And that's exactly what it all is. There's a lot of this money being laundered back through these corporations, through these individuals. And that's how they go from a regular Joe or a small millionaire to a multi-millionaire on the salary of $170,000 a year. Just the math doesn't math.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and we all know this has been going on for a long time. So any of these organizations that are tied to a sitting member of Congress, another elected official or appointed official, or their spouse, that should be exposed and highlighted and investigated. Because I'm not going to say that it could never happen if you're, tied to a company that makes a specific part the military needs. That's the only person company they can get it from. Then yes, you're going to benefit from, both your role in Congress and being there. But a lot of these, it is just straight up money laundering, whether they're paying a fake consulting firm $1 gazillion to not do a job, and it's just to launder money back to whoever it is probably as part of some backdoor handshake deal that we'll never be able to prove existed. But we know exactly what's happening. But just cutting off this route to the honeypot is what really is what matters, and then putting in legislation in place to ensure this can't happen again. But there's a bigger picture here with USAID, and Ron Paul calls to shut down USAID, says it's $1 billion tool for global regime change and shadow governments. It's long been said, even going back to the 60s when it was created, that this was essentially a slush fund for the CIA to develop operations in various places overseas. Now, back in the 60s, some of this may have been serving a good cause. I doubt most of it was, but some of it may have been as they're fighting the spread of communism in different areas. They do need some money to work with, to grease the skids, and for other things, legal and illegal, but to get the job done. However, today it appears to just be purely a slush fund and not in America's interest, any of the spending that I've seen so far. Now, again, maybe there's one or two things in there that are worth keeping, but why don't we just move those under the State Department like Rubio said originally, and do it that way, and that way we have some level of oversight instead of this agency that is a slush fund for the CIA and many, many others.
Once again, now I know enough about USAID now to form my own opinion, but even if I didn't, I trust Ron Paul 100%. If Ron Paul says it needs to go, I'm of the mindset of it needs to go. And I mean, I think Ron Paul is a legend. I think he's awesome in terms of opening the eyes of many people in my generation to having the beliefs that we have today in terms of limited government. And I would love to see him come on I know he's like an unofficial advisor right now. I don't know if he has the time for it or the desire, but I would love to see him be an official, integral part of DOGE to go in and actually help make recommendations to close these places down. And hopefully the Trump administration will listen to Ron Paul on these issues, especially the USAID. This is how we win in the future. Is we've got a prime opportunity right now with President Trump over the next 4 years. And quite frankly, so far, it looks like a President Trump who is eager to make some serious changes, that we did not see in the first term that we're seeing this go around. But we've got to make sure that we, the Mortal Kombat voice, finish them. We need to finish the deep state right now while we have the opportunity to do so, and don't let them have an opportunity to just rebuild these things over a 4-year period. If God forbid they were to win in 2028, we need to finish them completely off.
I say we make Ron Paul the Doge czar, and he can head up the audit of the Federal Reserve, and then we can really shock Americans when they find out exactly what's going on there. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but now all of a sudden they're jacking interest rates up now that Trump's in office. They were doing everything they could to crush them down during the waning days of the Biden-Harris regime. To try to prevent an economic collapse. We've already started to see a stock market downturn, though I hear futures are now up today since the great tariff war has already ended, with the United States victorious. But, this is something we do need to be concerned about that is still on our horizon. But that's not the only problem we're facing. There's a lot of people's true colors are starting to show. Anti-deportation protests turn violent in L.A. Officers detain and release over 100 activists without arrest. I don't understand how these retards can pretend, January 6th was a crime against humanity, the worst thing to happen since 9/11 or Pearl Harbor. And every time it's their little leftist douchebags out there causing problems, rioting in the streets, they release everybody, no charges, no harm, no foul, nothing happened here. Sorry, we destroyed your little businesses and burned down your buildings.
You know, and then you got Karen Bass, who's out here tweeting, saying, there's no one needs to be looting. You need to protest lawfully. I'm like, girl, are you serious right now? Like, number one, you guys have created the laws to allow people to get away with looting and everything else. They are blocking the streets and destroying vehicles of cars who dare to pass by. There's nothing lawful about this. There's nothing a protest about this. This is a riot. They need to be dealt with. Stop tweeting. And I mean, if she does anything, she's probably going to raise money, her and Kamala Harris, to get these people out of jail if they do go to jail. But it was crazy. There was videos of these people being cuffed, and then they were just instantly released. And the only thing I could think about was, you know, if you prayed at the Capitol on January 6th, you got thrown in solitary confinement. If you're out here smashing the windows of vehicles, all in the name of, you know, mass deportations are bad, then you are getting let go and get to go home and sleep in your own warm bed that night with no charges. The hypocrisy knows no end with these people. It's absolutely disgusting.
Now, California has been on a long, steady suicidal path anyway, between their catch and release bail policy, not prosecuting theft under $1,000, numerous other things, not maintaining their forests, all this other. Oh, yeah, there's another good one. The minute Trump brings in the military in California, suddenly the problem's solved and they've got water. They were lying to us, saying Trump was an idiot. He didn't know what he was talking about. There was no water, blah, blah, blah. But of course, again, the lies exposed, and then they're silent on it. There's no accountability in the media, no honesty, no anything. Sorry, a little bit of a tangent there. But, you know, I do like at least how they brought flags from their home countries so we know where to deport them to. I guess that was helpful. But again, when you have these riots out in the street, we should be moving in immediately, arresting these people, especially when they're causing destruction of property and other damage. You want to protest peacefully? Fine, that's your right. Even if it's just something like this that I totally disagree with, that's your right. But the minute you get violent, there should be consequences. Otherwise, you're going to continue to do it. And that's why we see these violent protests in the same cities over and over and over again, because they allow it. They allow the destruction of their own city, and then the good people move and they wonder where all the jobs went. Where did all the stores go? Well, you burned them down, and the insurance companies won't cover it anymore because your government refuses to do their part and protect their own citizens.
Yep, that's exactly what it comes down to. I don't know how. I mean, God bless you. If you're a conservative and you're staying in California trying to fight to save that place, God bless you. And I mean that sincerely. I don't think that I could bring myself to stay there and at this point and continue fighting. So God bless you guys who are still doing that. It's going to be interesting, though. I'll tell you, there's a lot of videos of people at supermarkets and just different locations of how empty they are, and they're usually packed full of Hispanics, and we know that those people were voting. It's going to be very interesting if we can keep this the deportation stuff up and clean up these areas. You have to wonder, like, is California at least potentially purple once you get all the illegal votes out of there? I mean, there are a ton of conservatives in California. Obviously, it's a huge state, but I mean, is it possible that California, I'm not going to say is red, but is it possible that they're purple if you get the millions of illegal voters out of there? I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to find out.
Well, and another thing you may see as this happens is you may see Democrats convert over as their city gets better, as conditions improve. They might be like, you know what? I supported Kamala Harris last time. That was clearly a mistake. Look how much better my neighborhood is now that ICE has come in and moved all these people out. There's better job opportunities for me again. Maybe I can support Trump and the Republicans. But guys, we do have to take one more quick break, hear from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back with even more.
Play your trump card and support Make America Great Again with the Donor Deck. Get your hands on 52 exquisite playing cards, each with powerful quotes from scripture and stunning artwork. Plus, showcase your MAGA pride with a beautiful display case and a reversible challenge coin. By purchasing the Donor Deck, you become an official donor, contributing to our cause and helping President Trump reclaim the White House. Get your Donor Deck today and play your part in making America great again.
Go to the Patriot.tv store and get your Donor Deck now.
Attention business owners and entrepreneurs, Patriot TV is launching a brand new TV series showcasing American-made products, and your business could be featured. Whether you sell your products online on Etsy or Shopify and dream of reaching millions of viewers on smart TVs like Samsung, Sony, TCL, and LG, or apps like Roku, Android, and Apple TV, this is your chance. We're searching for US-based businesses offering all types of products and services proudly made in the USA. If you've ever wanted to showcase your products on TV like QVC or the Home Shopping Network, now's your opportunity. Support our American economy, grow your business, and be seen by loyal Patriot viewers across the country. Know someone with a business or have a business yourself? Don't miss out. Contact us at supportingpatriots.com today. Be a guest on this new exciting TV series. Let's put your American-made products in the spotlight.
What do a neurosurgeon, a country artist, and a television and radio host have in common? They all saw the writing on the wall. Big banks sharing your financial information with big government. Join them as owners in Old Glory Bank, the pro-America online bank that protects your privacy, security, and liberty. Invest today at own.oldglorybank.com.
Thank you for staying with us. And again, the best way to support our program and all the programs here on Patriot TV is by supporting our sponsors. Well, I guess the cartels haven't gotten the memo yet, and they've decided to F around and find out. It looks like the finding out part is going to be coming very soon. Mexican cartels greenlight explosive drone assaults against Border Patrol agents. And this is at the same time, the U.S. launches reconnaissance aerial monitoring aircraft over Mexican border and run up to potential cartel strikes. Well, I don't think the American people are going to respond very well if suddenly we have explosive drones targeting our Border Patrol operatives. I don't think this is a bet that they want to make.
Sorry, my computer was updated there in the middle of all this. So sorry, I've been out of it for the last few minutes. Apologize.
Did you catch anything I just mentioned about the cartel?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
Well, we'll go through this again real quick. That the cartels have decided they want to F around and find out and have greenlit drone assaults against Border Patrol agents. And this is at the same time while the U.S. is launching reconnaissance aerial monitoring aircraft over Mexican border and run up to potential strikes. And I was just saying, if they start actually attacking Border Patrol agents en masse, especially with drones, I don't think the American people are going to tolerate that very well, and I am certain that the Trump administration will not. There are going to be grease spots on the stand probably within 24 hours. They start using drones against our Border Patrol agents.
Yeah, but you know what? They've already shot at Border Patrol agents already, so I don't put anything past these people in terms of this. I've said it on this show even before Trump was sworn in. I believe that people are underestimating how messy all of this is about to get in terms of doing this, and I'm here for it. I think it's necessary, but I do think that people need to fully understand at least the potential. I'm not trying to fearmonger or anything like that, but people need to understand that there is potential. I'm not saying this isn't going to happen, but there is potential that there is an actual gunfights and stuff in our streets over these cartels. So we're talking probably trillions of dollars at this point in terms of the human trafficking and everything. They're not going to, I don't think, just go away quietly. Same with securing our border. And once again, I'm here for that. I don't care if it comes to that. I hope it doesn't, but if it does, I still think we need to continue pushing through to secure our border and clean up our country. I just want people to fully understand that is a very real possibility. And now when you're seeing reports like this, I think that's even more likely that this gets messy, more so than it gets kumbaya friendly, if you will.
Exactly. Well, we can't bow to the whims of terrorists. And yeah, I think the moment this starts, we need to respond in kind. We need to respond really tenfold. We need to pick some of their installations and just drone these guys into oblivion. There should be nothing left but a smoldering crater. Send the message that it won't be tolerated. And again, this will make things better for us here in the United States and for Mexico. It may finally free them from the shackles they've had with all the corruption there, bought off political officials and everything else. Because as the money dries up, so does the protection. So, this is there's going to be some pain to go through, but this is an opportunity to make not just our country, but the world a better and safer place. And you touched on this earlier, but something we really need to dig into. Border czar Tom Homan, hero of the people, vows to prosecute New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy after revelation of harboring illegal immigrants. Yeah, this can't be tolerated, and I'm absolutely there for frog marching these leftist rejects that are plotting to destroy our country. They are working with the enemy. I mean, this is treason. So I'm definitely there for it. And I think the first one of these guys frog marched out and charged, it's going to make a whole lot of the rest of them reconsider their actions. So yes, it needs to happen. Hopefully, like you said earlier, Tom Homan's passed this on up the chain, and we see some results here soon.
Yeah, I've been wondering. I mean, I wonder if this New Jersey governor truly is harboring an illegal, or if he just said that because he thought it was going to make him look cool and get points with his base. If he is harboring an illegal, is he doing it in his personal residence? Is he doing it in the governor's mansion? I don't really care where he's doing it at. It's illegal, and he needs to be prosecuted and charged to the fullest extent. I would love nothing more than to see Tom Homan and the guys kick in the front door of the New Jersey governor's mansion and go in and grab him and drag him out of there, kicking, screaming, and crying with the entire world watching. I would celebrate all day long if that were to happen. These scumbags need to be held accountable. It is the literal definition of treason. They're not only, and if he's doing what he's saying he's doing, he's not only giving aid and comfort to a foreign invader, he is providing quarter for a foreign invader of our country. That is the literal definition of treason, and it's time to make treason punishable again.
Yeah, bingo. Well, we do have some good news, too. We have a place to take all the illegal aliens whose countries won't take them back. El Salvador says it will take America's deportees and criminals of any nationality. We questioned Marco Rubio a number of times, but I got to say, this guy is doing a great job opening up doors, solving problems. And Bukele, he's done wonders for El Salvador by jailing, 80,000 MS-13 members. They went from the most dangerous, highest murder per capita country in South America to the safest. And they did that all over the course of 6 months. So this is somebody we ought to be emulating. I'm glad Marco Rubio is down there. We can learn a lot from them, even if that's just his resolve in sticking to it through the hard times, the death threats. I mean, his security detail at CPAC last year was insane because they want this guy dead. No and ifs or buts, and it'll be like that. He'll be looking over the shoulder for the rest of his life, but he saved El Salvador, and we can learn a lot from him.
Absolutely. Well, and on top of that, Rubio has done a great job so far in the early negotiations with the Panama Canal as well, I believe.
Yes.
I agree with you. He's doing a great job. Fun fact is El Salvador said that they would even accept American prisoners who have committed heinous crimes inside the United States of America. You talk about a deterrence. If they start taking some of these rapists and murderers from America who think that they're big and bad and tough and they're in an American prison and go throw them in one of these El Salvador prisons with the MS-13 gang members, that would be awesome to see that happen a couple of times. And I think you would see that would be a huge deterrence. People would be terrified of having to go to one of those prisons as opposed to living in, the safety of an American prison compared to those places. So I'm here for it. I think it's awesome.
Bingo. Well, some of these undocumented Democrats are getting the message, too. Susan Collins says she will support Tulsi Gabbard's confirmation. And there's a few others that have also now made similar statements. It looks like RFK Jr. made it out of committee today. Supposedly, we're going to have a vote on Pam Bondi this afternoon. And honestly, I think if Pam Bondi, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., and Kash Patel make it through their confirmation hearings, I don't see how any of the remaining nominees fail.
I don't either, but here's my thing. I've got a message for these Republican senators. We're not going to give you a pat on the back for doing the bare minimum, okay?
Yes.
Appointing and voting to confirm Trump's appointments, that is the bare minimum. It's sad and pathetic that we even had to pressure you guys into supporting and actually voting the correct way. And then you have the audacity to come out, take these pictures, make a post on X. Look at me. I'm going to vote to confirm Tulsi or RFK or Cash or whoever. thank you for doing the bare minimum, because that's exactly what it is. It's the exact bare minimum. We're not going to give you a pat on the back. We're not going to cheer you on. I'm still pissed off, quite frankly, that we're even having to waste our time to even get. I mean, they should have been confirmed last week, and we're still sitting here letting the Democrats slow roll this process with all these procedural things while you guys want to play patty cake politics with the left. And then you're wanting to sit here and act like you might not support them. You might support them. You don't know. That's pathetic. The least you can do is vote to confirm all of these Trump nominees, and then you can go earn some pats on the back sometime after that. If you want to do something, maybe like get rid of FISA or something along those lines, we would cheer you on for that.
Exactly. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, these undocumented Democrats should all still be primaried. We've had problems with them for decades. Them all of a sudden now caving under pressure, because that's exactly what it is. They know things have gotten serious, and the politics have changed. They're afraid of people like Nicole Shanahan. You know, she's said she'll put up $1 billion of her own money to primary these fools. She is already going after Warnock and some others she supported in the past. How did she phrase it? Regrettable mistakes she'd made previously. These people are fired up. I watched an interview with her over the weekend at some point, and I think she is one of these people that had a political conversion. Her eyes were open when she saw all her friends turn on her, when she saw the policy of the Democrats, the lies, and everything else to take her and RFK Jr. out. So I think, she's angry, and how did she put it? Bobby may be nice, but she's not going to be. Again, this should be the goal of the Republican base. It's time to end our relationship with these rhinos and find real conservatives for some of these seats, so we can actually move our agenda forward. We don't have people just selling us out, stabbing us in the back, and throwing us under the bus at every single chance they get.
Yeah, and as frustrating as Susan Collins is, at least she's in a swing state. It's even more frustrating when you have, is it Cornyn, I believe, out of Texas. You've got Murkowski out of Alaska. I mean, these are deep red, safe states, and we're having Tom Tillis in North Carolina. That's not even. I mean, that's a little bit of a swing state, but still, it's a red seat. Like, these are the frustrating ones. Shelley Moore Capito here in West Virginia, Mitch McConnell in Kentucky. These are the reddest of the red states. These are where we should be getting our MAGA, America First patriot fighters who are just going to stand on the national stage and beat the drum of freedom, not only for their home state, but for all Americans across the country. And instead, we're getting some of the biggest, worthless, most useless rhinos out of the reddest states. And that is a major issue right now, and it's something we're going to have to correct moving forward.
Yeah, bingo. Well, guys, we are unfortunately almost out of time. Keep your eyes on two things. I'm not sure where the next giant leftist meltdown it'll be, but it's either going to be them going after NPR and their funding. We'll probably cover that tomorrow. Or they're, I guess, going to begin rolling out operations to shut down the Department of Education. So I don't even know if the Moonbats will know which item to scream at more loudly. But guys, I want to again thank you for being here with us today. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help us to grow so we can bring more people the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear. If you're watching on Patriot TV, stay tuned for the Hannah Faulkner Show up next. If you're watching on Ex America News, stay tuned for Paul Harrell. Thanks again, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be back again tomorrow with even more.